But have you really avoiding the very thing you needed to do, like writing that next blog post, or if you think about going live on video, crafting a video script, or even coming up with social media posts? Well, it's hard enough to come up with new ideas, let alone putting those ideas in a words that is going to help you connect with your target audience. So today I am going to walk you through my favorite AI tool that I am using to craft content every single week. And in fact, on a recent driving trip to Chicago, I managed to craft 5 blog posts in a matter of about 30 minutes, which was crazy. And I thought, if I can do this while driving down the road, and I was not the one driving, but if I can do this while working on my laptop in a car, imagine what we can do when I'm actually sitting at my desk in a more controlled environment. So, if you don't know me, I am Joyce Layman, and I help coaches, entrepreneurs, and creatives leverage their unique brand and message so they can stand out online, get more clients, and make a bigger impact without getting overwhelmed. And tech is one of those things that I hear all too often is completely overwhelming. So I want to take the overwhelm out of tech and show you how to use my tool today. Now, I am going live on YouTube and in the Facebook group. So as much as I would like to be able to bounce back and forth, I can't. Please comment in the chat. If you do, I'm using Restream. Give Restream your permissions. I will be able to see. I did have some people reach out and actually post if there's going to be a replay. Yes, you have access to the replay, but if you have questions that you want answered, and if you want a simple content template, then that means showing up live. So as I see people coming on, then please drop where you are watching from in the chat. Would love to see that. And I want to take you into 𝗪𝗛𝗧. The other thing too, excuse me, Jasper, I am an early adopter. I started using 𝗪𝗛𝗧 when it was 𝗪𝗛𝗧 over a year and a half ago, and then they changed the name to Jasper. So as we're going through this today, if you hear me say both names, I'm not trying to confuse you. It's just that's how I was using it before. All right. So with that, like I said, drop where you are watching from in the comments. And then the second thing is, if you have a specific blog that you have been wanting to write and you've been creatively avoiding, and you want me to write it for you with 𝗪𝗛𝗧's help, then drop what that content is, what that blog topic is, and what a potential title that you have for that. So those of you that are showing up live, then you have a chance to get content created for you. And I'm going to give you a link so you can actually get 10,000 free words so you can play with Jasper yourself. Okay. So I want to be cognizant of time. I know we've got people popping in and off. I had a couple of people even direct message me and tell me they were going to be late, but I want to get started. So if you are not familiar, there's so many different AI tools that are out there. And I will tell you, there's a lot of content, seems like AI tools. Jasper, they were the first to the table as far as how they developed their system. I kept hearing about others, but I am a tech lover. I used to be terrified of tech. And so for me, I wanted to, oh, Minnesota, fabulous. So what I wanted to do was find a way to make content creation easier. Because get a piece of paper out if you don't have one, or find something to take notes on. Because the first thing is, I want to tell you how to take one piece of content and then be able to multi-purpose that content into multiple things. Because before, I was creating social media posts. So if you create social media posts, that's one thing. Are you writing blogs consistently, or have you even been thinking about writing blogs? So I kept going through thinking, I'm going to do social posts, but oh my God, I have to do blogs. And then I'm going to go live. Well, I have a lot of information in my head. I'm sure you do as well. But to go live, for me to take my outline that I would do and then turn it into a blog post, I couldn't imagine spending the time to do that. And I have to admit, on my website, my blog was being neglected. So fast forward to a couple of things. My Pinterest, I started using Pinterest. A post took off. I've got over 16,000 monthly views on my Pinterest account. And I knew, because of how Pinterest works, that they send to specific blog posts. I started working with a coach who also has a way to make content repurposing so easy to do that it opened my eyes. And it also took this frustration out of, we're going to have to create all these things, to creating one thing. So that's the first thing, is write down how, like, what is your main focus? Is it just social media content? Do you actually go live? Because if you go live, it's phenomenal to help you to be able to write an actual video script, which in turn becomes show notes. It becomes your blog. You can also do it the other way. You can write a blog, and then you can use that same content to deliver a live video. I actually break mine down and I take the bullet points, and those become reels. So now I have reel topics. So I haven't had to create 20 different pieces of content. I created one piece of content and then managed to repurpose it in multiple ways. So with that, I am going to dive into 𝗪𝗪 and show you. And I'm going to go over on the big screen so I can actually see what I'm doing. So, oh, and with that, let me do this as well. Hello, hello. Now, if you give permissions, then I can see exactly who's talking to me. Otherwise, I'll have to go back after the fact into the video to see who's commenting. So with that, when you go into 𝗪𝗪, I'm going to pop this up really quick as well. So if you want to get 10,000 words for free to be able to try it, then if you go to layman.live/AI, and what's going to happen is it's going to pop you into a screen, and you're going to come into a dashboard. So what happens is you're going to end up with templates and recipes, two very different things. For the sake of today, I want to show you what to do with templates, because there's a lot. And that's also the reason why when we have our incubator, our content day, that we get into this in more detail. But trust me, you can do a lot just with what I'm going to show you today. So the cool thing is, when I first started, they didn't have as many templates as what they do right now in 𝗪𝗪. One of the recent things that they came up with, and by the way, I am in boss mode. I am in the full-on program because of everything boss mode can do. And now that I've learned how to create content, it is so well worth doing. So one of the recent things that they came out, and yes, it is possible that you can craft a blog. So let me pop back over here. Has anybody, I want to see if anybody actually put a topic. No topic for a blog post. All right, then that means I'm going to be writing content for myself. If you want me to write a blog post for you, that means you need to drop your blog post topic or your video script topic in the comments, and then I will craft one for you, because I want to run through this and show you how easy it is to do. So like I said, this is a chance to get content. I will message you, or I'll send you the Word document when we get done. All right, so popping over here. Oh, and and one thing that I have to tell you too, just in full transparency, because I'm all about being authentic. An hour ago, I had my front teeth, I'm having some tooth work done, and my temporaries popped off my front teeth. So I was in my dentist office an hour ago. So I'm coming into this not as polished as what I want to be, but you know what? That's the point about being an entrepreneur, and especially with tech, things are going to happen. Okay, so go over here. I'm going to write because nobody's giving me a topic. I actually did the 5 reasons why a quiz is a powerful list building strategy. First off, what happens with Jarvis is you put in your topic. So this can be, and you've got 800 characters to do this. So this could be anything. So if I want to come up with, let's do something on brand. Let's see, how to create a standout brand in 3 easy steps. Now, tone of voice, something very specific. You can put in expert, you can put in witty, you can put in a specific person, like you can use Samuel L. Jackson if you wanted to. And what 𝗪𝗪 is going to do is it literally goes out, it's an AI tool, and it's combing all over the internet, and it's finding content. So I usually put in expert. If there's a particular industry leader that you follow, then you can use that as well. I know that I don't have enough content out to actually use my name in the process of doing it because Jasper's not going to find that. So I either use expert, I use witty. The other thing is intended audience is coaches and entrepreneurs. So simple blog topic, how to create a standout brand in 3 easy steps. Now I am going to click generate and then I'm going to pop back over. You're going to see it is spinning. I'm going to come back over here. Ooh, why answering your banker's phone call is important. Let's see what he comes up with. Humor in healthcare. I love this because these are going to be, they're going to be interesting topics to see what comes up. So, okay. So let's go back over and you can see, and there we are. Literally, I hit generate and now we have a blog post. So it says how to create a standout brand in 3 easy steps. The nice thing is Jasper's giving me 3 different inputs. So as you go through this, then you're going to, it's going to say, here's your title, blog introduction. So you can see in today's competitive business landscape, more important than ever to have a strong brand. It's what sets you apart, tells your customers who you are, what you stand for, and why they should choose you. So it doesn't have complicated or expensive. This is just the first one. So then it gives you blog body, define your brand personality. Step 2, know your target audience. Step 3, be consistent. So it says, on the other hand, if your branding is all over the place, customers are going to have a hard time identifying your company. I'm trying to go through these because I want you to see what's down here. Then conclusion. So it gives you a robust conclusion. This is the second one. So as I said, Jarvis just gave me 3 different versions of the same blog post. So when I do this, then what I do is first off, I read through the introduction. I figure out which introduction that I like. And then I also go through and say what fits with me. I know my expertise. I know how I know how my specific process works. So think about your business. So this is where you may use what Jarvis does, Jasper, see there I go. You may use what Jasper does word for word. And then again, you may say, you know what, let's go over here and see what happens. Now, the cool thing about this is if I want to take this and turn it into a Word doc, is I can do a couple of different things. I'm trying to develop a unique selling proposition. I always talk about a unique statement or a unique value statement. So that create compelling content, super important. Conclusion, let's see, define your target market. Absolutely. If you don't know who your target market is, it's going to be hard to market to them. And then develop core values. That is more along a mission statement, and then create a visual identity. That's great, but that's more private clients that I'm working with, not necessarily what I think the clients, or not necessarily what I think my readers out on social are going to get. So if I look at this, then I am really feeling, let's just grab one, create compelling content, ESP, know your target audience. All right, so I'm actually going to grab the first one. I'm going to open it in documents. So now I have literally grabbed this blog, and how Jasper knows what's what is this now becomes H1. So your titles are H1, and then your paragraph headers go into H2. So that way, as Jasper's continuing to write content for you, then you're just going to do this. Now, the other thing, I also use Grammarly. I have used Grammarly forever. It's one of my favorite tools. So even though Jasper's telling me in today's competitive business landscape, it's shifting this and saying having a strong brand is more important than ever. So this is where sometimes I come in and I take what Jasper's giving me, and then I use Grammarly as well. So if you're not using it, highly recommend it. It works on emails. It works everywhere. So let me pop back over because I want to see if there have been any other comments. Okay. So I want to show you now, and this is all being done here. So blog body, then we'll get rid of this. Step 1, define your brand personality. So as I said, you take this, it becomes H2. And this is actually tweaking. As you can see, if I didn't do anything to this, I would have had a blog just in a couple of minutes. Step 2, know your target audience. You always have to know who your target audience is, who you're speaking to. And then I'm seeing tracked to your brand. Actually, I like Grammarly's version of that. All right, and step 3, be consistent. Okay, so the other thing in here too, the third and final step, creating a standout brand, you're going to see that these paragraphs tend to be pretty short. However, it's 486 words. This is where on some of them, I go in and add a little bit more content to them. And then sometimes, like when I want to put out something super short, I will do that. Of course, I'm going to take out conclusion. On the other hand, if your branding is all, nope, I like what Jarvis did. Okay. So then the other thing too, this gives you a long closing paragraph, which is great. The other thing that I would add here is you always want to add your CTA. I'm just going to put your CTA in here so that way you would know to do that. Because what happens is if you create a blog and you put it out on your website, or say you post it on LinkedIn, it's actually a published piece of content on LinkedIn, and you don't put that clear next step in, then people don't know how to follow up with you. So that's why, depending on what this is, I actually have a lead magnet that is a simple lead magnet guide that walks them through some steps and some great questions to help people get more clear on their brand, their target audience, and all of that. So with that, I could say, if you like, and click here to develop your unique message. So I would put that. So just showing you that. So I would go ahead and add a link. And of course, that would be uploaded to my website, or actually in FG Funnels, which is what I use, and I can build out. So I have a clickable link, I can track it, and then it automatically gets delivered via email. So there is number 1. I actually have a one-shot blog post. Now, the other nice thing is when I copy this untitled document, I now take it over here, and I have how to create a brand, stand up brand in 3 easy steps. So that's the first one. If I go into documents, just so you can see, these are all the different things that I have been working on. There's 68 in here actually. And most of these, I would say probably 70% of the content I do are video scripts. I repurpose it the other way. I turn it into blog posts, I turn it into Instagram Reels, and I turn it into social media content. So with that, I want to pop back over here for a minute and then see if you have any questions before I dive into, and I'm going to put in why answering your banker's phone call is important. That's fantastic. So I'm curious, Randy, who is your target audience? Because if you're working with corporate clients, that's going to be a different spin than working with an individual client that's just looking for a checking account, right? An entrepreneur, a small business owner is going to be different than a company. So if you can give me your audience, and the same thing, Robert, it's like humor in healthcare. That's great, but be a little bit more specific. Why does somebody need humor in healthcare? What are you trying to put a spin on? So, and Randy, I will tell you, let's say business owners. Okay. So why answering your banker's phone call? This is awesome because before I think it's just better that I'm showing you how it works so you can see. So business owners. So as I said before, here's the other difference too. So you've got templates. Let me run you through some of the templates just so you can see everything that's here. So they have a simple document, which is great. As long as you know how to use a recipe, then you can add different things to it. I'll do that at the end. Commands, paragraph generator, the one-shot blog post, as I said, that's in beta. Content improver, this is phenomenal because it takes a piece of existing content and will rewrite it. Product description, AIDA framework, so attention, interest, desire, and action, blog post topic ideas. So maybe you don't even know, that's where we're going to try the humor in healthcare. We'll go in and see what Jasper happens to spit out for blog post topics. The other thing I use is the PAS framework, the problem, agitate, solution. So whenever I'm doing an intro to a video or an intro to a blog post, I use the specific has framework that Jarvis, excuse me, that Jasper knows how to use. So that's one I use all the time. Blog post intro, tone detector. You can see all sorts of great templates that you got. Explain it to a child. So if you're trying to take a complex topic, maybe you're doing a presentation and you need to break it down for people, then explain it to a child is phenomenal because it's going to help you do that. Personal LinkedIn post. See, now they've got more things in beta. These weren't always here. So if you've ever been just dreading content, like I said, Jasper is my favorite things to do. Sentence expander, you can eat everything that's in here. Amazon, perfect headline, video topic ID. At the beginning, when I was doing YouTube videos, I used to pop in here because sometimes what I find is my video titles have a slightly different spin than a blog post title that Jasper will spit out, and it's the same topic. So that way we can, work around, or you can work around with those. Personalized cold emails, email subject lines, another big one. An email subject line is a difference in having a 5% open rate, upwards of 30 to 40%, which I've had some clients, depending on what they're sending out, get that high of an open rate. Industry average tends to run 20 to 25%. That's really good if you can get there, but that's where email subject lines are great. And then of course you've got SEO, company bios. You can see all the things that are in here. Engaging questions. That's another thing that I use to create social media content is their engaging questions. I turn them into pins, or I turn them into posts. So you see there is a lot. Okay. So going back over here, just to make sure that we get this. All right. So going back to Randy. So answering your banker's phone call is important, business owners. All right. This will be fun. Let's see. Let me pop back over here. Okay. Making sure that I've got that. Is important. Okay. So we have 3 outputs you can see, and I'm going to click generate. It is 323. I don't know if we're exactly at 323, but let's see what happens. Now, the other thing to keep in mind too is Jasper's gotten used to me. Jasper's gotten used to me writing. Jasper's gotten used to me doing everything. The importance of answering your banker's phone call. So it might go, why is she doing this? Although I know there are a lot of professional bloggers that use this to create content. So Randy, with that, if you see one, just comment, and I'm going to scroll through these. The other thing I can do too is pull these up. And since I'm doing them on my laptop, it's a little bit harder. Okay. Answer because your banker is important. Ecosystem, developing your relationship, trusted advisor, help you access capital, be a valuable resource. Okay. Let me do this. I'm actually just going to copy these. That's the other thing that you can do. You click copy. I am going to pop in here and do a Word document. And we're going to put this right into a Word document. Nope, give me a new one. Okay, this is going to be the easiest and fastest way to do this since I am all right. And usually I would put this in a Word document and then work with it from there. But since I'm actually doing these for both of you, so let's do option 1. If I can spell. And then I'm going to go down here. So there's option 2. That seems avoid fraud, save money. They can help grow your business. I know I'm not creating this for me, but I think the first one, that speaks to me a little bit better than the second one does. The other thing, and I think, if you see one, I've also, important stakeholder in your business, so you can copy this as well. So with that, it's like if you see I've combined different segments just depending on how it sounds with what I'm trying to get across at that specific time. So, okay. So this way, let me go back over here since that's what it's showing. All right. So important stakeholder shows that you're responsible, builds trust. So I said number 2, they can help grow your business. That's good. They can save you money, help you avoid fraud. Let me pop back over here and see if one's speaking to you. Is this, I know, isn't it amazing? So is there one of these that stuck out more than another one did for you in the process? I was about to say, because I'm going to send you over a Word document, Randy, and you're going to have all of these in a Word document that you can play around with, but just trying to show you what you can do. The other thing, it goes back to, depending on how you're going to use it, when you're working with Jasper, then this is where, and just for the sake of this, what I'm going to do is take and pull this up. We're going to open this in documents, and I want to work with it here for a minute. And seriously, if you put Samuel L. Jackson in as a different, in fact, we can do that. Apparently I'm spelling words wrong. So what we're going to do is now I'm going to click this again, and we're going to see what happens. Because we want to come up with, and it may come out slightly snarky. I don't know. I've seen that happen before. But you can see how quickly it creates. The other nice thing you're going to notice why he's coming up with this is, now if I go back over here, so this is a little bit different. So if you're looking here in the middle, then it's showing you, like, sure, you've been there before. You're in the middle of a meeting, or maybe you're in the middle of a movie and your phone rings. You see it's your banker calling and you let it go to voicemail. But is that really the best idea? Let me tell you why answering your banker's phone call is important for business owners. I love that. I love that intro. That is so much more compelling to me than the other. And so then we get into it, part of your team. They need to be able to get in touch. It's because they show you're available, ready to talk. I don't necessarily like the body as much, but I love that introduction. So do you see how you can use that? You can combine, and that was just phone mother goes, exactly. But that's where you can take and play around with it. And this is where it does, I will tell you, it does take a little bit of time for you to go in, use the platform. And the more you use it, the more Jasper understands what you're doing. But you're going to find what tone of voice is going to be best. You're going to find how to put in inputs that makes it easier for Jasper to be able to create content back for you. Yeah, I was about to say they're all great points. In fact, now you've got, Randy, now you've got multiple. I'm sending all this over to you on a Word doc. That's why I said you show up and you comment in the comments, and then, you're going to get free content created. But that's why I love this tool so much. Hopefully you can see that. In fact, when Mark and I were driving to Chicago and the sun was setting and I was trying to get some content done before I lost all light. So I've got my laptop on my lap and I put in a post. and I'd put in my inputs, right? And then I'd hit, and then Mark and I'd start talking. He's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm writing blogs." He said, "How the hell are you writing blogs?" It's like, "Because I have 𝗪𝗲." And then I would read him snippets. He's like, "That's amazing." So that's why when you play around with this. So I've looked at different industry experts depending on, if I'm writing an actual video script with a recipe, if I'm doing a blog post, if I'm doing a social media post. Sometimes you want to have a fun voice, sometimes it's witty, sometimes it's expert, but just think about, what you're trying to get across. Think about specifically to the audience. So the audience is going to depend on the tone of voice, but then going back, and I've got to flip back here because I can actually read, but like here, I want to scroll down to 2. If you don't answer your banker's phone call, you're going to have a bad time. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be important. That doesn't speak to me. It might to you, and that's okay. It's a sign of disrespect. It's a totally different spin. Why you need to answer your banker's phone calls by Samuel L. Jackson. This is great. Listen, I'm not one for giving financial advice. I'm reading in the middle. Yeah. I'm an actor, not a banker, but I've been in this business for a long time. I've seen a lot of things. And one thing I know for sure is that if you're a business owner, you need to answer your banker's phone calls. Oh my God, this is fabulous. Okay, so let me grab this. Randy, I want to put this but definitely you can tell the tone of voice has changed a lot. The other thing I will tell you too, in case you're thinking, I'm on LinkedIn and I can't do this, you very much can write in a very distinct voice. It's a pattern interrupt, and it's a great way to get people's attention. If you use a strong opening or something that people might not be recommending, clearly you can't use the I'm Samuel L. Jackson. But if you use the first one that was there, then let's see. Yeah, then to me, that I think you're going to help get people's attention, but it also has to fit your personality. So, and I think I may have now I'm going back and forth. This is why I hate working on my laptop, but oh yeah. All right. So let me bold this since I copied the same one again. All right. So we have that one. Pop back over here. All right. Like I said, just copy. So that is the first one. I think the reason why I like that one so much is it sounds a little bit more like my style, but I'm not in the corporate space anymore like I used to be. So that's why, when I'm working with individual business owners and service providers, consultants versus going in and working with companies, a little bit more formal, to me, that's why it speaks to me, but that's okay. All right, so let me grab, because I want to get on to, I saw we had, all right, so going back here. And I'm going to do one more, and it will be the humor in healthcare, but then I want to get in and show you a few other things that for this time, you promise. All right. That's that one again. Okay, I will go back and check. Now, the cool thing about this is when you look, all of these are over in history. You never lose anything. It always stays in your history, because at the beginning, when I was using 𝗪𝗲, no, and those are great questions. So what 𝗪𝗲 does is it goes out and literally combs everything on the internet. There are some professional blog writers, especially, if I was writing a book, I would go use a plagiarism tracker just to see if there was anything there. But how 𝗪𝗲 has built its database is it's gone out and it combs and it keeps combing, and it's combed internet content for years to come up with what's there. So if you were writing blogs, as I said, if it was specific for a company, if you're publishing a book, I would absolutely check. I haven't checked yet. The one thing I will tell you is when I'm out, whether it's Pinterest, whether it's coming across, so many people have so much content that sounds pretty similar, especially in the bullet points. To me, it's the body content. It's what makes you unique and how you put your specific spin on it. That's why I look to see what's there, but I always go back and put my polish and I make sure it's my words that comes across as me. So does that make sense? But that's, it's a great question. I've not run into any issues. I haven't seen that come up. I am part of Jasper has its own Facebook users group, which is great, where you can put stuff out. The other thing that I will tell you too is the owners of the company, they answer every question. They answer every email. They have been right on it. They built this business from scratch, so easily accessible. And I am all over trying different tech tools. In fact, that's part of what I do to help. It's like if you can do automations and use systems and tech tools to make your life easier, then how customer service works with you is extremely important to me. And that's one of the things that I've loved, that's even as big as they've grown, they are still right there supporting you. So yes. All right. Let me scroll back up. All right, Robert, you have been very, very, very helpful. So let's see, helping healthcare relieve stress while teaching relationships with their patients. Humor in healthcare. All right, so why don't we do, let's see. You see, so I have this, helping healthcare professionals relieve stress while teaching relationships with their, or is it teaching or developing relationships with their clients? Robert, if you're still, what are they looking to do? And I'm going to go over and start playing around with this just to see how this is going to work. Humor in healthcare. Let's see. Why don't we try this one? How about kind? We can try kind. Intended audience, we could say healthcare professionals. If I can learn to spell today. So I'm going to pop back over here and see if you've got. All right. I don't know if Robert's still with us or if he may have jumped off. Humor in healthcare. Helping health. Okay. Let's see, helping doctors and nurses. So let's try this. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to pop over one more time. Okay. Let's see what we come up with. Now it all goes back to, you've heard the phrase, garbage in, garbage out. With Jarvis, it comes up to the content that you put in, like even changing the topic a little bit, the title. And that's one thing. I want to see what we create. But the other thing is let's see what happens here. Okay. Nope. Come back here. Now I'm over here. All right, let's go back up here. So this is how this works. So when we're in one-shot blog post, all right, so let's do this. It started, we're going to go to history. Nope, and it still has mine. All right. So we're going to see how what we get. And if we don't like it, then we're going to try changing the title to see what's there. And sometimes that's why I said, maybe you've got a topic idea, but the title is what's going to make the difference, because the title is what guides Jasper to help you write content. So, all right. So there we go. The importance of finding humor in healthcare. Let me pop over and see if Robert has come back with us. I don't see if he has, but that's okay. He's still going to get this. All right. So this is where we're going to have to resource and ground resource and see what's here. Oh yeah, went to the dentist, so I still have to drink with a straw right now. All right. It's no secret healthcare can be a stressful process. Long hours demanding patience, ever-present risk of making a mistake. Find ways to relieve stress and inject some humor in your workday. After all, laughter is the best medicine. Oh my gosh, I love that. So one way is to bond with your coworkers, sharing stories, laughing. Also important to take time out of yourself. So this one is really, really short, but you can go back in and build on it. So as I said, Jasper's used to writing for me, used to writing about sales, marketing, lead magnets, funnels, all of those things. And now we're over here writing about healthcare. So I don't know if that's potentially throwing for a loop, or we just have to work on a little bit, right? I mean, it's fine. So title, Relieving Stress with Humor in Healthcare. So it's no secret, stressful. Three ways to find. So share funny stories, watch comedy or TV movies, read books. So here's one, and it's actually giving you a statistic. That's the thing I found last time. I can't remember the post that it was, but it started spitting out statistics. So that's another note that you can use too, is if you want to, if you've got a very specific title, that you're doing a presentation, then go find a couple of statistics and you can add them. That's one of the things you can do in a recipe. You can add it in, and then Jasper knows to take everything that's above in top, in conjunction with what you've got for your outline, your overview, and then it generates content based on that. So sometimes adding statistics in is great because it's that aha. So something that's there there's no room for humor. It can be found everywhere. Oh, share your stories, use humor as a coping mechanism. I actually kind of like the third one the best. So another thing you can do too, and this is where I want to take it over here. All right, so we're going to back this up. All right, so if we pop in over here, so now as you can see, I can work in Jasper in a full screen versus having this little bit. So to work off of, which is hard for me to do on my laptop, especially when it's sitting up on a stand. So I'm not staring down at you. All right, so finding humor in healthcare. So if you do this, now the content brief, this is where it is that, what are you trying to get across? And so I will come back over here and grab laughter is the best medicine. Okay, develop relationships with patients. I'm glad you're back. And hopefully you can see how this works. Okay, develop relationships with, I love laughter is the best medicine. That's why if you could use a combination of them. Okay, so, but I want to show you too how we're going to add and create another paragraph very easily based on what you've got. So let's see, nature, just because it's stressful, here are some ways to find humor. So what I would say, here are some ways to find humor in healthcare and develop better relationships with your patients. So what I would do is over here, so the content brief, I would say 4 ways. So I would grab, let's see. Okay, healthcare is one of the most. Out there. That doesn't mean that there's no room for humor. Let's see. And I'm going to say this blog how to find humor in healthcare, relieve your stress, and develop better health or better relationships with your patients. So do you see now what I've done is we took a blog post that had already started, but we want to add a little bit more to it. So as I said, these, whenever you have a title, these should all be H1. Then down here is these become H2. So Jasper knows these commands that if that, then it's like, oh, well, that's the end of a paragraph. And so it knows how to do that. So using humor as a coping mechanism. So then I would say develop better with your patients. So that way, if you do, to me, it's like if you do, this, and this, then you're going to be able to develop better relationships. So now, and I'm just going to give a prompt. So here's the other thing is you can just click compose and then Jasper will go ahead and compose, or you can give it a prompt. So I'm going to put, now that you have 3 ways to reduce your stress through humor, it's time to, it's easier develop better relationships with your. Now, what happens is you put right here and I click compose. And what he's going to do, boop, just starts writing from there. So, but this all goes back to finding humor in healthcare may not be easy, but it's worth it. You can go ahead and continue because then you might get more information. So Jasper doesn't read what's below the cursor. Jasper only reads what's up here. So as you are writing, then it's not going to recognize, because sometimes I'll add different notes or I'll get an idea. I put them at the bottom of the page and then I figure out where to bring them in. So we will delete that out. So and don't forget to share your funny stories with other. Yeah. So, but what this has done in the conclusion paragraph is it's just summarized everything, that you're human just like them. So with that, when you're feeling down, and then, like I said, so I also use Grammarly to help as well. All right, I'm going to pop back over here. So Robert, hopefully, and I promise I will take all of those and put them on a Word document so you have them and then send them over to you. But let me show you a couple of more things that Jasper does. So like I said, when you're working with this, that's 542 words, easy peasy. So with that, and then I am going to just go ahead and grab this and copy and put it over here. You can store everything. Let's first save this one. Okay. Okay, so we've got that. And now we're going to go in here and create another one, finding humor in healthcare. So the other thing that happens too is when you copy and paste it directly from there, just remove the formatting and then you're good. So now, okay, you can't see me back over here saving that, but I'm over there saving it because I want to make sure you've got everything. All right, So with that, let me take you in here. And like I said, these are all saved. So anytime you go into a template, it saves what's there. Recipes are another thing that you've got. So all of these, what happens is different Jasper experts have come together, and what they have figured out is, say you want to create a video script, then the prompts are already written in. So as an example, if I wanted to run this, then it's going to give Jasper very specific. This is going to take longer than your one-shot blog post. But this is why if you have a content brief, you're going to put it in here. It literally, how to find humor, healthcare to reduce stress and develop with patience. And then it says manually move this to the sidebar once it's written. So with that, then that was fast. So what this did is it's basically a content brief. So then what it's giving, so I pull this over, put this here. So now we have content brief. Now, this is what's interesting. It says, write 5 compelling titles based on the content brief above. You manually select your favorite, make it an H1 format. So if I'm over here and then I put my cursor and I hit Control Enter, then Jasper has just written 5 titles. Do you see how mind-blowingly easy this is? Laugh it off, how humor can help healthcare professionals reduce stress, healing power of laughter, a joke a day keeps the doctor away. These are so great. So anyway, bringing laughter to the clinic, how humor can improve patient relationships. I'm popping back over because I want to see what Robert is saying. I hope you're still with us and you can see how amazing this is. Now, as I said, I'm using the video script format. You can do the same thing within the different templates that they have. You can use the title generator, the content, those are all individual. The only difference between a recipe and a template, a recipe is multiple templates that are instructing Jasper to do multiple things. So when I'm developing a video script, then what I do is I use the recipe for the video script because it makes it 10 times faster than popping back and forth, but you can very easily do it. So, and then over here, yeah, these titles are great. So what you would do is you would take one, bringing laughter into the clinic, how humor can improve patient relationships. So we'll do this. But I want to have these here, and I'm going to show you the paths, and then I want to make sure that we're popping over. So we've got more things. All right. So those are your titles. I want you to have those. All right. So that way we can get rid of them. Now, a pain, agitate, solution. Now that we have this, we're also going to put this here. One of my best friends, she's also one of my my #1 business associate too, because we've worked with each other's businesses for a long time. Jennifer's very tech savvy, and when she first looked at Jasper, it blew her mind. And then just going through a little one-on-one or spending a little time in training, it's like, and the light bulb clicked and she got it. So as I'm moving through this, know that when you start to play with it, it's really easy to do. But it takes time just to play with it. That's the big thing. So if you commit to playing with it and you start using the one-shot blog post, I promise you will get hooked, because at the beginning we didn't have that. And I still got hooked, even though we had to do everything to make it happen. All right. So your pain, agitate, solution. So I want you to see what happens. So when you're writing something and you talk about the pain first, you agitate the pain, and then you offer a solution, it leads them into it, gets their attention. So just to show you how Jasper can do this. said it's a little different than a one-shot blog post, but it's using the 𝗪𝗪 template to create it. Every once in a while, I will tell you, it's AI, it's technology, so there's going to be a little bit of hesitation, but typically we're all good to go. So if you wait too long, then we'll just pop back over and we'll use it another way. And then with this, as you can see, because it's a video, it says access the show notes. So that's a call to action. You introduce yourself, you write an intro. So these pieces, why we're waiting. So like this is telling Jasper, write an intro paragraph, write a blog post outline, continue writing more information. So this is what builds it out. So your one-shot blog posts are typically between 400 to 800 words. So this takes it in, and then it's, write a strong. So this literally takes you through all the things. And it says this script blueprint now serves as guide for your video, your show notes. So as I said, I go live weekly with a training. And then what happens is I take that same content and I just tweak the end a little bit with a different call to action. And then I add it in my blog and I now have show notes. But I also, because I go live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, then I link back to the YouTube video and that goes in my blog post. So, and for some reason, Jasper's having a little bit of an issue. So I'm just going to circle around and see what happens when we do this. Hopefully I haven't lost everybody. I'm going to come back over here. Okay. So with that, I want to make sure, I was trying to make sure we kept this to an hour. I didn't want to go more. All right. So let's see. All right. So write a blog. So we're going to do, so when you hit cursor, there are specific instructions. You hit control, enter. Okay, there we go. See, boom. I think Jasper might have needed a cup of coffee. So your problem, healthcare professionals are under a lot of stress. Sometimes it can be difficult to maintain positive relationships. Agitate, it's no secret. So it's basically, here's a problem, agitating it. Solution, laughter is the best medicine, and humor can help healthcare. So there you go. So in this blog post, so we'll do that, benefits some laughter and using tips for humor as work as a healthcare professional. So what I am going to do is now grab this, Robert, so that way you have it over here. So you can either use the very short version or you can go use the longer version. The other nice thing about this too is if you take this content and you go put it in a document in Jasper, then, and I'll show you what I mean. So say, for example, you go in here and we're going to do this and it's going to say, start it from scratch, or I haven't done this, but you know what? That's good. It gives you intro paragraph. You can go that route. I'm actually going to back up and do this, and we're just going to do it from scratch. So if you have this, then when I paste it, so you've already got a title and you have this. So the nice thing is, so we'll discuss benefits of laughter and provide some tips. So then you can put tips here underneath. So here's tip 1, for example, you'd put your title. So you could take what you'd already done. So humor can be found. So maybe we take this one and put it over here. Then humor can be found everywhere. All right. And let's grab, what was the favorite? Let's see, bringing laughter in the clinic, how humor can improve. Well, I don't know if it's hospital, it's clinic, but we'll do this. So now you've got your title. And then your content brief, we already know you've got to pick out. So that's where you'd add your content brief. And then I would put kind, you could add expert. And then you can also add keywords. So this is healthcare. humor, patient relationships. So then Jasper knows, and you can also pick small, medium, large, or small, medium, longer. So if we put humor can be found everywhere, then let's see what happens. So now it took off and it gave you, okay, so we're just going to do that. So here are a few general tips that can help healthcare professionals use humor more effectively. So that's like 3 tips that you wanted to do. That's why I love the one-shot blog post, because it builds all of these out without you having to do all of that work. I would rather you use the one-shot blog post. If you're brand new, then go ahead and just type more content in and then hit compose, and then Jasper will take it from there. Does that make sense? And is everybody, I see names on, I see 4 people watching. So let me know if that makes sense. As I said, once you get in and play with it, the fastest way is your one-shot blog post. What I found for me is I just went in one at a time to these different things. So I went into the templates and I said, okay, so say for example, like you've got, let's go down, explain it to a child. So with this, you've got 800 characters to be able to put in, and it says output grade 8 level. So if you're working with a very complex topic, just go ahead and put in, if you've already got content done, grab a paragraph, put it in here and see what happens. So that is a great way just to play around with some of these. You've got blog post outline. So basically what the one-shot blog post has done, it's like a powerhouse template that's combined these, so you don't have to worry about using it. Blog post conclusion, personal LinkedIn post. I have not, oh, this is great. So problem, let's see, healthcare are stressed to the max. Solution. Finding humor can help relieve, develop, finding humor in. Now, I have not done this. I have not used this. Oh, other information. Oh, process took me 5 years. Let's see. I'm just making stuff up, Robert. My clients tell me difference for themselves, the culture. I used to speak on culture, to training culture in their office and overall patients, intended audience, healthcare professionals. Oh, and then CTA. This is awesome. I'm gonna love this. So if you want, I'm just making this up, my stress cheat sheet. So maybe you've got, 5 top tips, put it in a really nice PDF. You can use Canva, by the way, and then say, if you want my stress sheet, comment below or send me an email. I would just do that. So let's see what happens. I have not used personal LinkedIn posts before, so I am literally making this stuff up. We're going to find out what Jasper's doing. There you go. So that is a personal LinkedIn post. So then if you go into Canva and you have templates that are already created, and then you put the title of what that is, then now you just copy paste and put it into LinkedIn. By the way, you should be posting to LinkedIn typically 3 times a week for great reach. If you do LinkedIn native videos, little video shorts on your phone, you're going to get better reach, but even content like that. So anyway, hopefully you can see, and these are just the templates that they have, or excuse me, so they are phenomenal in that process. All right, any other questions? I want to be cognizant of your time. As I said, if you want to play with Jasper, then go to layman.live/AI. You will get 10,000 words for free. And I will make sure that I go into the platforms when we're done, and I'm going to send your Word documents with your blog posts that you can either use as is. Go play with them in Jasper. I mean, why not? You've basically got them in there. Go ahead and add them in. Do a one-shot blog post. I would be curious, because that's the other thing too. Like I said, I've been using Jasper for well over a year and a half. I would be curious what happens if you put the same prompts in, what kind of outputs you get for yours. So I have been working with people. We've literally done it side by side, and we get 2 completely different responses. So going back to that question about plagiarism, I haven't seen, I mean, sometimes what Jasper comes up with is completely off the wall. So I wouldn't be as concerned about that. As I said, you're going to put your own special spin on it. You have your own experience, your own expertise. You know, you've got your own tips that you provide, a very specific client base that also changes too. So unless you get really specific in the prompts, you're going to get more information that's general in nature, if that makes sense. So I don't think I passed the 5 blogs in 15 minutes challenge, but I was also working with content that I didn't know. So hopefully you can see how easy this is. But definitely go try Jasper, and then I promise I will go back. I will get you your Word documents. And I would love it that when you get done, if you actually turn it into a blog post, or you have a LinkedIn post, and by the way, Robert, you're going to get bonus because I'm going to send you those as well, then tag me in the comments, because I would love to see what you create. And also know that if you're consistent about putting content, that's the biggest thing. If you want your reach to get better on social media, you've got to be consistent about creating content. Putting out 1 blog post a month or 1 LinkedIn article a month doesn't get the same results on LinkedIn. An average of posting 3 times a week, not 3 blog posts a week, but 3 pieces of content a week. You can even share somebody else's content, for goodness sake. But if you're really wanting to stand out, then put your own information out. Maybe you have a client and you want to turn your blogs into a PDF that you send over to them. I think it's better if it's your company and your site, if you're driving people to your site with content, it's going to be so much better, because Google SEO, huge these days. And so it's one thing when we've watched all the changes that have been happening in the online space ever since the start of the pandemic, then we know, always social platforms are changing. But getting good content out on your own website is super important. In fact, I've watched my stats increase, the number of visitor views. I look at like my free lead magnets that I have that people can go opt in for. It's like all of that works. It's working better the more content I have put out. I used to resist doing blogs regularly. And then it's like, oh, well, you take a video script, which you're already doing, you turn it into blog or show notes, because when I'm talking, even though I have a full script, I don't always go according to my script. I look at my outline and then I add things in the video that they're not necessarily going to get in the show notes. The show notes are supposed to be more condensed. Then I have ideas for reels, which are easy to do. You can also do the same thing, LinkedIn native video, pull up the app on your phone. You can hit record. The nice thing about LinkedIn native video is you're not live. The video isn't out there until you post it, you make it public. So what's going to happen is, say, for example, like Robert, you wanted to share, you did a 2-minute video and you gave people 3 tips on how to find humor in healthcare. I guarantee that LinkedIn native video is going to get far more reach than the blog post will. Live video wins out on social media every single time. The algorithms love it, but it's getting over what the heck do I say? And a lot of times it's the writer's block. It's like, how the heck do I even come up with that? So that's why, as I said, I absolutely love Jasper because it has helped me. You know, I've written 2 books, hate to write, wish I would have had Jasper at the time. I've got a whole process too on book writing, but I wish I would have had an AI tool like this. I am also going back because I want to make sure, okay. So I want to make sure I didn't miss anything on the comments, but try that, follow up. Yes, I have a very simple guide to that when you're looking at creating content. It's like how to figure out what you're creating for, who the client is, which platforms to post on. So if you want that template, then just drop content template in the chat and I will also send that your way. So I appreciate your time. We have gone a little bit over more than what I wanted to do, but I am excited about what kind of content we created, even though I didn't have a clue when we started from the beginning. So with that, I hope you have a great week. Be sure to check out Jasper. And then if you have any questions, send me a DM. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. And tag me in your posts because I cannot wait to see what you create.